Imagine this. You've just witnessed something impossible in the sky. A strange light, a silent craft. You tell someone. Days later, there's a knock at your door. Outside stand two, sometimes three men, dressed impeccably in black suits despite the weather. Their faces are pale, emotionless. Their movements slightly robotic. They seem not quite human. They know things they shouldn't know. Details about your sighting you never shared, and they deliver a message often phrased as friendly advice. Forget what you saw. Stop talking about it, or else. They are the Men in Black, an image cemented in pop culture as comedic agents fighting aliens. But the reality, or rather, the reported reality, is far stranger and far more terrifying. This is the Men in Black phenomenon. For over 70 years, consistent reports have emerged from UFO, witnesses describing encounters with these unsettling figures. Are they merely agents of a shadowy government branch, tasked with silencing those who've seen too much? Or is the truth far more bizarre? Are they extraterrestrial beings, interdimensional monitors, or something stranger still? In this investigation, we will deconstruct the Men in Black phenomenon, from its origins to its most chilling encounters, to understand the anomaly that guards the threshold of the unknown. The story doesn't begin with suits and sunglasses, but with fear and silence. (1947), the Maury Island incident in Washington state. Two harbor patrolmen claimed their boat was damaged by debris falling from donut-shaped UFOs. The next day, one witness, Harold Dahl, reported being visited by a man in a black suit, driving a new black Buick. The stranger knew precise details of the sighting and warned Dahl not to speak of it, implying harm could come to his family. This is arguably the first modern MIB encounter. However, the Maury Island case itself is highly controversial, with many believing it was a hoax created by the witnesses. The MIB archetype truly solidified in 1953 with Albert K. Bender, founder of the International Flying Saucer Bureau. Bender claimed he had discovered the truth about UFOs, but before he could publish it, he received a terrifying visit. He described three figures in black who communicated telepathically, warning him to cease his research immediately. They left behind a strange, sulfurous smell. Terrified, Bender shut down his organization, stopped publishing his magazine, and famously stated he hadn't been doing UFO research, but playing with forces I didn't understand. Bender's dramatic shutdown and cryptic warnings cemented the MIBs in UFO lore as powerful, otherworldly silencers. As UFO sightings surged in the 1960s and 70s, so did reports of the Men in Black. The encounters became stranger, more detailed. One of the most famous and chilling accounts comes from Dr. Herbert Hopkins, a respected physician involved in a UFO investigation in 1976. He received a phone call. The caller identified himself as representing a UFO organization, which Hopkins knew didn't exist, and asked to visit immediately. Hopkins agreed. Moments later, a man was at his door. He was dressed in a black suit, black tie, black hat, and was completely bald with no eyebrows or eyelashes. His skin was dead white and his lips were bright red. He spoke in a flat, robotic monotone. The stranger demonstrated impossible knowledge of the UFO case Hopkins was studying. Then he performed a strange action. He told Hopkins, "You have 2 coins in your pocket. Take one out." Hopkins did. The MIB then said that the coin, its energy is running low. It is gone. The coin in Hopkins' hand had vanished. The visitor then ordered Hopkins to destroy all his UFO research. His voice changed, becoming menacing. "If you do not, your heart energy will run low like the coin." Terrified, Hopkins destroyed all his files. The encounter perfectly encapsulates the high strangeness of the classic MIB reports. The bizarre appearance, the impossible knowledge, the veiled threats. Other recurring details from this era include MIBs struggling with simple human tasks, like eating or using utensils, as if they were poorly programmed robots. Witnesses often report feeling drained, ill, or experiencing strange electrical phenomena after an MIB visit. Their cars are often described as large, black vintage models, impossibly clean, sometimes with strange lights or no license plates, that appear and disappear suddenly. These details paint a picture far removed from simple government agents. They suggest something else. So what is the most logical explanation? The most widely accepted theory, especially in skeptical circles, is that the men in black are exactly what they appear to be, agents of the government. During the height of the Cold War UFO flaps, the US Air Force and intelligence agencies were genuinely concerned about public panic and potential Soviet exploitation of UFO reports. Project Blue Book, the Air Force's official UFO investigation unit, did employ plainclothes investigators. It's plausible some witnesses mistook these agents for something more sinister. But could this explain the truly bizarre encounters? The theory suggests these weren't standard agents, but specialists in psychological warfare, psyops. Their goal wasn't just to gather information, but to actively discredit, confuse, and terrify witnesses into silence, using bizarre behavior and veiled threats as tools. The strange appearance, the monotone voice, the weird cars, all could be part of a carefully crafted performance designed to seem not of this world, making the witness doubt their own sanity. How did they know details the witness hadn't shared? Standard surveillance, wiretaps, mail interception, common tactics for intelligence agencies. This theory seems plausible for many cases. It fits the Cold War context and the known capabilities of intelligence agencies. But does it explain everything? What about the vanishing coins? The telepathic communication claimed by Bender, the reports of MIBs seeming genuinely confused by everyday objects. If it's all an act, it's an incredibly elaborate and consistently strange one, maintained across decades and continents. This leads us to darker possibilities. What if the men in black aren't pretending to be strange? What if they genuinely are? The second major theory posits that the MIBs are directly connected to the UFO phenomenon itself, perhaps even being alien entities. Proponents point to the timing. MIB encounters almost always follow significant UFO sightings or contact experiences. They seem less like investigators, more like cosmic cleanup crew. Their strange behavior, physical oddities, and apparent technological abilities, vanishing objects, silent cars, fit this theory better than the government agent model. Some researchers suggest they are biological robots or androids, sent by an alien civilization to manage human contact and suppress evidence. This could explain their robotic movements and lack of social understanding. Others propose they are interdimensional beings, capable of phasing in and out of our reality, which would explain their sudden appearances and disappearances. This theory also connects MIBs to older folklore, legends of demonic figures, shadow people or fey beings who intimidate humans often, share striking similarities with MIB reports. Are the MIBs simply the latest mask worn by an ancient, non-human intelligence that monitors and occasionally interferes with humanity? This theory explains the high strangeness but lacks concrete proof. It asks us to accept the existence of UFOs and aliens as a baseline reality. There is a third path, one that turns the lens inward. What if the MIBs originate not from Washington or another dimension, but from the human mind itself? Witnessing a UFO or experiencing high strangeness is often a deeply traumatic event. The MIB visit could be a complex psychological reaction. Perhaps the MIB is a hallucination, a manifestation of the witness's fear of authority, or their subconscious desire to suppress a memory too strange to handle. This could explain why MIBs often reflect the cultural anxieties of the time. Cold War government agents in the 50s, more technologically advanced figures later on. Some researchers invoke the concept of a tulpa, a being or object created through sheer willpower and collective belief, originating in Tibetan mysticism. Could decades of UFO witnesses, believing in mysterious silencers, have collectively manifested them into a quasi-physical reality? This theory is perhaps the strangest, but it acknowledges the subjective, dreamlike quality of many MIB encounters. Yet it struggles to explain shared sightings or physical evidence left behind. So where does this leave us? With a phenomenon that defies easy categorization. Government agents? Aliens? Hallucinations? The Men in Black phenomenon stubbornly refuses to fit neatly into any single box. Reports have certainly decreased in the age of smartphones and ubiquitous cameras. If they are physical agents, perhaps their tactics have changed. But the core anomaly remains. The Men in Black represent the archetype of the silencer, the force that steps out from the shadows when we glimpse something beyond the veil. Whether they are government agents protecting state secrets, aliens protecting cosmic secrets, or projections protecting our own sanity, their message is always the same. Look away. Forget. Do not question what you are not meant to understand.